Okay, this is the Piper Cherokee. I'm lined up. The breeze has just started from the south. Going to take off. Right rudder, left rudder, right aileron roll, left aileron roll, up elevator, down elevator, throttle. Okay, Piper Cherokee taking off towards the south. Keeping a bit of left rudder in, increasing the throttle, a little bit more left rudder, easing off that left rudder, easing back on the stick. We're up. Left rudder, left roll, turning, losing some altitude in that turn. Wings level. I'm now clear of the runway and climbing up to have a look at the scenery up here. The Cherokee is a very forgiving model. It's got a low wing, but it still flies like a trainer. So I think it's due to the extremely large elevator, as well as the 4-channel control really helps keep this plane where I need it in the sky. I'm going to give it full throttle and do a climb. And then at the top of this climb, I'm going to get it into a stall. Keep climbing. Keep climbing. Alright, reducing the throttle, holding the nose up. Reducing the throttle, holding the nose up. Left rudder. Throttle is at half. Holding the nose up. Right rudder. Throttle is at a quarter. Full elevator. Throttle's off. Holding the elevator full to induce a stall. Very forgiving. You can see that stall was extremely forgiving. Now I'm under a full glide. Just going to bring the plane over towards the south, and I want to drill my touch and goes. Over the south end now, without throttle, I want to do myself a figure of 8 gliding descent. Really line myself up. Now I have recognised that I am on the wrong end of the strip. I will have a tailwind, so I'm going to abandon this landing. And if I was in a real emergency situation, I would probably change my positioning now for a westerly approach, touching down as an emergency on the grass below me, throttle on. That would have been a very poorly planned and poorly executed emergency ditch. You always got to think a couple of steps ahead when you are flying without throttle. There it took me a little bit longer than I would have liked to recognise that the tailwind would have been pushing me faster on the ground speed. If I had a throttle off now, I would probably commit to a left turn, do a complete left turn, keep that speed, keep that high performance speed. Now I'm wings level coming out. Left rudder, final flare. You want to get the plane really slow if you are going to ditch. So that was a complete stall landing. This time I'm going to taxi back down to the north end and take off into the wind again with a very scale takeoff. Okay, turning around to the right. I have a tighter turning circle to the right, as you can see. Left rudder. Okay, Piper Cherokee taking off towards the south. Increasing that throttle a little bit faster this time. Keeping that left rudder in, reducing that left rudder, and I actually rolled right there to clear the left wheel from the grass before I clipped that landing gear on that grass. Planes only have small wheels. They're made for obviously keeping the aircraft safe on the ground, but I will say if you hit any obstacles, they're not very forgiving. I'm going to go hands off now. The plane's climbing, which is nice. And a little bit of a sneak of a roll to the left, so I think that could be coming from some left rudder. Why don't I try a loop? Followed by an aileron roll. Very slow aileron roll to the right this time. Throttle off. Stall turn, or just a stall. Pulling out. Let's come in for a touch and go this time. Using that glide approach, increasing the throttle, trying to line myself up with the center here. reducing that throttle a little bit more, increasing the throttle, increasing the elevator. See that bounce, full throttle, climbing out. Pushing the nose down on that climb, just got a little bit away from me there. You do find that when you're changing your speed, your plane may have some oscillations or challenges trying to get into its groove. Planes often fly the best when they're not touched. So I haven't touched the controls. Sneak of left trim there. Let's come in for a low pass. Bringing it in nice and low. How low can we get? Sneak of down trim for the low pass. That's very low. Didn't even mean to touch down at the end there, but I was under control, and the plane, once I recognised the touchdown, I quickly increased that throttle. Alright, I've got 1 minute and 20 on the clock, so I might just commit myself to a bit of a climb, and we'll do a glide to finish. I always find the gliding very, very therapeutic, especially with the inside of the cockpit view. The ambience and the sound changes dramatically due to the lack of wind being pushed over the aircraft from the propeller, as well as the slower airspeed. You also don't get any of that motor noise or whining. It's just pure gliding experience. So once I feel comfortable, I'll cut off the throttle. I have 44 seconds to go, and I'll talk you through my glide rate and my glide descent. I would say the wind has picked up a little bit now, so I'd be very cautious to land with the tailwind. Probably could have before. Alright, I'm almost at my 30-second mark. I'll leave a little bit in reserve. Throttle off. We're gliding away. I'm going to really stretch this glide out in terms of my distance travelled. Okay, left rudder. Trying to keep the turn big, but also trying to keep the plane under control. That has turned around nicely. I need to stay over the north end of the strip now to execute my landing towards the south, so I can pick and choose. I'll find myself in the position I want to be in, so I'm on the mark right now. Now I'm looking at my glide rate, trying to figure out how many turns I can do. You're better off staying conservative. You watch how much height I lose in this turn as I turn aggressively to stay away from the sun. Now I'm back in glide stretching mode, larger turn, larger radius turn, letting the plane settle itself, not pulling too much on the elevator, but just keeping that airflow as I come in for my landing. I'm going to go long, but this is probably what you'd want without a motor. Final flare using that airspeed. Something about a plane like this being at a touchdown at the end of the tarmac from a glide at that altitude really just feels right. And when you also have that slight wind from the south, that makes it a little bit easier. And thank you for flying with me. That was excellent.